Hi, so today's video is about Module 4, Skills 7 and 8. Before we continue, let's have a look at the previous modules, Skills 1 through 6. The first one is the review of Module 1, Skills 1 and 2. You have to remember that a sentence in English must have one subject and one verb. So you have to remember each subject has its verb and each verb has each subject. And then you have to be careful with objects of prepositions. Nouns coming after prepositions cannot be the subject of the sentence. Okay? If you forget about these skills, I put the link up there so you can check. You can always have the review. Now let's move on to Module 2. Skills 3 and 4. In Skills 3, we learned about present participles or verb plus ing. You have to remember that present participles can be part of the verb if preceded by forms of be. Okay, is, am, are, was, were, plus verb ing. Okay, they are verbs. But they can also be adjectives. Okay, and then in skill 4, we learned about past participles. Past participles can be part of a verb if preceded by forms of be, is, am, are, was, were, or forms of have, has, had, okay? And they can also be adjectives. You can have the review here based on the link there. I put the link up there. Let's continue to Module 3, Skills 5 through 6. Starting from Module 3, Skills 5 and 6, we learned about clauses. Okay, especially a sentence that has more than one clause. So what is a clause? A clause is a group of words consisting of a subject and a verb. So the group has a subject and a verb. Because we have two clauses in one sentence, so it means there will be two subjects and two verbs. Of course, to connect those two clauses, we need a connector. So the connectors here are used to connect clauses. So whenever you see there are two clauses, there will be one connector. If you see three clauses, you will need two connectors. Remember that the clauses will have their own subjects and their own verbs. Okay, I put the link up there so you can always have the review. Let's continue to skill 7, non-clause connectors. So here we talk about noun clause. A noun clause is a clause that functions as a noun. Okay, it has the function as a noun. Because the noun clause functions as a noun, it is used in a sentence as an object of a verb. So it comes after a verb, or an object of a preposition. It comes after a preposition. Let's take a look at the examples. The first example, the words in the box are what we call as a noun clause. Remember that a clause has its subject and its verb. So what is the connector there for the noun clause? It is Y. The subject is she and the verb is said. Why she said such things is what we call as a noun clause. And it is put after the verb know. Okay? The main clause is I don't know. Subject I don't know as the verb. So here the noun clause functions as object of a verb. In the second example, the noun clause is put after a preposition. So it is the object of a preposition. I am thinking about why she said such things. Remember, you see two clauses, I don't know, and she said such things. And there is one connector, why. Okay, two subjects, two verbs, one connector. Okay, let's see the summary. For the noun clause connectors, we can use connectors like what, when, where, why, how. We also have whether and if, and also that. The pattern will be subject verb, connector, subject verb. So in the example, Sally explained why she did it. The subject is Sally and she. The verb is explained and also did. The connector is why. Two subjects, two verbs, one connector. Okay, let's see the example. The citizens worry about blah 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 is doing. Let's try to analyze. What do we have in this sentence? We have the subject, the citizens. There is only one subject. But we have two verbs, worry and is doing. Remember, you have to make it balanced. Two subjects, two verbs, one connector. Because there is only one subject with two verbs, so what do we need to complete the sentence? We need another subject and connector. Let's see the options A, B, C, and D. Let's try to eliminate them. Focus on the options that have connectors. We know that only A and D. Options A and D have connectors. So we omit B, option B, and option C. Remember that we only need one connector and one subject. So the answer will be A. Because option D will give us another verb, which is. Okay, let's continue to skill 8. Noun clause connectors, subjects. So what does it mean? Basically, it's the same as skill 7. The difference is that in this skill, the connector is also the subject of the clause. The connector is also the subject for the clause. Let's take a look at the example. I know what happened yesterday. What happened yesterday is the noun clause. It is the object of the verb know. Remember that the noun clause must have one subject, one verb. What is the subject of the clause? It is what? What is the verb? It is happened. Two subjects, two verbs. The first subject is I, The second subject is what? The first verb is know. The second verb is happened. What is the connector? The connector is what? So the sentence is complete. Two subjects, two verbs, one connector. But remember, here the connector is also the subject of the clause. In the second example, the noun clause functions as the object of a preposition about. So it is actually the same. The difference is that, remember, the difference with the previous skill is that in this skill, the subject is also, the connector is also the subject of the clause. We are thinking about what happened yesterday. The first subject is we. The second subject is what? The first verb is are thinking, and the second verb is happened, with one connector, which is what. So let's continue to the summary. Here, noun clause connector subject, we only have three connectors which function as subjects of the clause. Who, what, which. Okay. The pattern will be subject, verb, connector as the subject also, and verb. Al told me what happened. Subject, verb, connector, subject, verb. Let's continue. Let's see the example. Let's try to analyze this sentence. The company was prepared for blah 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 happened with the economy. Let's find out the subjects first. There is only one subject, the company. However, there are two verbs, was prepared and happened. To make it balance, so we need another subject and connector. Let's see the options. Option A and option B both only provide subjects, but no connector. Option C will be the answer. It is the subject as well as the connector. So the complete sentence will be, the company was prepared for what happened with the economy. Two subjects, the company and what? Two verbs, was prepared and happened, and the connector what? Why can't we choose D? We cannot choose option D because it is only connector, but it cannot function as subject. Okay. So remember, in skills 7 and 8, we learned about noun clause and the connectors. That brings me to the end of the video. I'll see you again in the next videos for more skills for the TOEFL preparation, the PBT. Bye. Thank you.